So hey guys, I'm trying something completely different today. This is the first woman at the wheel video I've made in a long time, and I'm trying it with my Osmo Pocket 3 camera, and I'm going to try, let's see, navigate. I just want the map. Okay, I'm going to try running all this in the new Jeep, so we will see how it goes. I'm not sure yet if this is going to work, but we're going to give it a try. All right, because I have to go to Norman and get my paperwork on this Jeep so I can get it registered. They were going to mail it to me, but I decided today seemed like a really nice day to take a little bit of a road trip. So I called up there and they had not mailed it out yet. So I said, well, just hang on to it. I'll come up and get it here in a couple hours. And they were very, very cooperative. I'm sure they are used to, you know, abiding by what people request. They're very easy that way, it seems like. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Norman. And I need to get fuel while I'm up there. I've got 194 miles worth of fuel in this Jeep. This is the kind of modern convenience I like in a vehicle. I'm spoiled because of the work trucks I had, because they were newer trucks. Well, a couple of them. I had one brand new in 2011, and then I had another one that was a couple years old, but it was a 2018. I got it in 2020, I think. And those were my 1-ton trucks, 1 to 2-ton trucks for hauling trailers and such. But I got used to the modern conveniences in them. And the fact that the old Jeep didn't have any modern conveniences, I mean, I noticed it. I guess I could say it that way, because I'm kind of spoiled, evidently. I'm just trying to adjust this camera a little bit and not run off the road. This is a rough road. This is just a little county road. So I'm trying to keep this from bobbling around too much. And I don't know if I like the way that's tilting, so I'm going to stop over here and see if I can level it up with, I'm going to stop here where I can see behind me and ahead of me. I don't want everybody sneaking up on me. I just want this to be level. I want it to shoot level to the vehicle, not level to the horizon. Because the vehicle, I see what it's doing. It's finding its own level. Okay. I forgot. The Osmo 3's got a brain. It's got a built-in gimbal. So it has this kind of brain. And I also want to lean it back forward a little bit. Let's try that. So it will stay level with the universe, I guess, supposedly. But it may look funny compared to the Jeep. I don't know. Maybe it's measuring off the horizon. I don't know what it's doing. Anyway, we're going to test this out and give it a try. So I have not done this in a long time. I haven't been anywhere lately. I have quit going to Wichita Falls. I don't have to go down there to pick up my medicine anymore because I changed my pharmacy to one over in Whitesboro, Texas, which is about 5 hours from here. So I'm not going to drive down there and get that. And I don't have to, because not only are they $100 cheaper than the pharmacy I was going to in Wichita Falls, they also have free shipping. And so I got my first shipment of semaglutide from them yesterday. It arrived, it was cold, not frozen, nothing weird about it. So I'm planning to start that on Saturday. So that's been a whole thing. I did a whole video of it on the other channel, but I'll hit the highlights of that here. About a year or so ago, the semaglutide, which is basically generic Ozempic, it's compounded for me, it quit working for me. And I don't know if it was something that the pharmacy changed in their recipe or what. And I could never tell. But I did start doing a lot of research on it. And they always have sold it to me in frozen vials. And I had to keep it frozen and keep it in the freezer. Oh, this guy just took a digger. Dang. You okay? All right. Ouch. That had to smart. Yeah, he looks like he's okay. He's young and resilient. He's getting back on. Good boy. Get back on and ride. Okay, so anyway, here's my my meddling in other people's lives here, from afar. So anyway, I've done a bunch of research, and apparently, because the old pharmacy froze it, they were most likely degrading the strength of it this whole time. I've never had it from this other pharmacy where it wasn't frozen. So even though it degrades some of the strength of it, at first when I first started taking it, it was working for me because I was just starting to take it. But it seemed like I built up a resistance to it sometime last summer, and it had stopped working for me entirely over the last few months. So I talked to the doctor, about the doctor's office anyway, and kind of ran it by him. I said, I'm not sure what the deal is with this, but can we try a different compounder, different compounding pharmacy? Is there anybody else we can try? Because I'm not so sure that I'm getting the best quality of a prescription from these people, because it seems like it's just not working for me anymore. So there are basically three possibilities here. Either I have just developed so much, look at these cows all in the shade, and a couple of horses in there too. Yep. Either I've developed a tolerance to it to where it's just not working for me anymore, which I really don't think that's the case, because there have been several times I've gone off of it for 4 weeks at a time to get it out of my system, let it go, and then I'd start it up again and nothing. It couldn't even tell I had taken it again. So that didn't seem to be the answer. So it could be that they changed their formulation to where it's just not as effective as it used to be. But I think that if that were the case, people would be complaining about that on the internet. And I've found no complaints about it. So I think probably what it is, after doing a lot of research, I think the fact that they freeze the compound to extend the life of it, the shelf life basically, so that they can sell more of it out of one batch, I guess. That's the only reason they would do that. They're willing to degrade the quality of it for the sake of having more of it on hand from a specific batch to sell, and not having to make it as often. And it's a bad trade-off for the patient, because if that's what they're doing, then I was never getting a true full dose of the semaglutide to begin with. I was getting a degraded dose, and God only knows what that percentage degraded by. We have no way of knowing that. So it's kind of an interesting thing, and it's kind of annoying, but I think that's exactly what happened. Now, I'm not going to know for sure until Saturday. I'm waiting until Saturday to take my first dose of the new batch, just because I went on tirzepatide for a month, which is a different compound, and it's got like a 7-day deal to get out of your body. Well, I'm giving it an extra couple of days just to make sure it's out of my system. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to be very cautious about this. The new pharmacy sent me one vial with 4 weeks worth of meds in it, and they told me exactly how much to drop in the syringe and all that. I think what I'm going to do for the first week is I'm going to take half of the dose that they prescribed for me, just in case I'm right, and just in case the old semaglutide I was taking was so degraded that I never had a full dose. I don't want to make myself sick, taking a full dose just out of the gate. So it seems a little more prudent to take a half dose for the first week, and then if it doesn't do anything, I can go and take ahead and take the half dose for the second week, and then the third week I can take the full dose if I'm not having any side effects. And I've never really had too many side effects off of the semaglutide anyway. I've tolerated it really well. But maybe the reason I tolerated it so well is because I've never had a full dose of it. I don't know. Could be. It could be. So it's quite annoying if that's what they did. That is what they did. They froze it. So if that created this situation, that's very annoying, because the whole time I've been paying $300 a month for the full dose, and if that's the case that it was degraded by being frozen, I've never gotten the full dose. Never. So for 2.5 years I thought I was on the full dose. Evidently not. So it worked for me for a while, even though it was a reduced dose, because I was just starting to use it. And then over time, apparently, if you don't get that full dose, then it starts to lose your effectiveness. It's just one of those deals. It's a screwy thing. And I'm not trying to bag on the pharmacy that made the other kind, that made the other prescriptions for me, because they're super nice people. It may just be that they are misguided in how they should be handling the semaglutide. Then again, I can look it up on the internet and see that it's supposed to never be frozen. And I always thought it was weird, because I knew this for a long time, but I thought, well, they're a pharmacy, they would know, right? Well, maybe they do know, and maybe they don't care. Maybe it's just that it's more important to them to be able to make a big batch and then have it stored in the freezer so that they can sell it on demand as the prescriptions come in, rather than making it for each prescription that comes in, or each week of prescriptions or whatever. So it might just be a matter of convenience to the pharmacy itself, as opposed to trying to take care of the customers. And that's wrong. That's bad. That's not good. So a couple of things about this that are a lot better. If this new formula works for me, it will be a lot better, because instead of paying $300 a month for it, now I'm only paying $200 a month. And instead of having to spend another $25 or $30 on diesel, or gas in this case, now that I've got the Jeep, instead of having to spend money on fuel to go get it, it's free delivery from this place in Whitesboro. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. I do like that. And I think my thing there. Oh well, anyway. So that's the saga of the semaglutide. all these things I have been working on. So on other fronts, I finally, Monday morning, about 6 o'clock or 6:30, I finally became fully monetized on YouTube on my other channel, on A Real Life. And I'm excited about that. So I've been monetized for, 3 days now. This is the third day. I think, is this Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. Guy, if you want to hurry up and go around, you hurry up and go around. I'm not getting a ticket here at Rush Springs. This is a notorious speed trap. This guy must think he's immune. It's true, I haven't seen him out here lately. So, it remains to be seen if they're still, as much of a speed trap as they used to be. But they definitely used to be a big speed trap. Everybody was getting tickets up here. So anyway, so I've been monetized for, I think today's Wednesday. Yeah. So I've been monetized for 3 days, and according to the tracker in my monetization analytic page, what am I trying to say, in the dashboard that shows me how much money I'm making on my videos, it looks like the first 2 days I made like $6. Hey, but $6 a day, if I could do that every day, that'd be what? 6 times 3 is 18, so that'd be $180 a month. Is that right? Am I thinking right? something like that. I mean, even that would be awesome, because that would mostly pay for my, my electric bill or my Ozempic, or that would pay a bill. So I'm good with that. Of course, I hope that I have some viral videos and I get some big money out of it, but I'm happy just getting anything out of it, because it's basically my part-time job that I've been working at now for several months, and trying to set it up to where it would be a little bit of extra income. So far it seems like that whole concept is a success. I'm not raking in the dough yet, and I probably won't ever rake in the dough, but that's fine. If it's a little bit of extra income every month, that was the whole goal. That was it. So yay, got that set up. And I had to fight with YouTube and AdSense for about 2 months to get it all to go through, because there's a glitch in the program, and it's not everybody that has this problem. Just random people get a glitchy AdSense account to start with that will never apparently hook up properly with YouTube, and it's not something you can fix yourself. You've got to actually go in and get YouTube higher level tech support to fix this problem for you. Just to get a hold of them took me like a month and a half to figure out how to get a hold of them. So yeah, I did a whole video on how you cure that problem on that channel on a real life. So I'm kind of recapping a lot of the stuff I've done over there, because I don't want to just do a duplicate here. But if you're interested in any of this stuff, the whole videos are over there, and it's linked. So anyway, so that's done. I did a thing the other day, like last week. I decided I was a little ticked off because I got switched over to T-Mobile. I did not know this was going to happen. I had no warning or anything. I just got an email one day saying, well, US Cellular has shut down and basically sold you to T-Mobile. So you're now a T-Mobile customer. Yay, right. So, make a long story short, I added a second line just so I'd be able to find my other phone if I lose it, and in case my other phone dies, and I've got a phone in the house, because I don't have a landline. So it seemed like it would be a prudent thing to do. And it was supposed to run me $20 a month, and plus fees and taxes, which should have been proportionate to the $20, you would think, right? Well, T-Mobile didn't think so, so they ended up sending me a bill for $93 per month to have these two phones, and one of them was just talk and text only, just a basic bare bones phone. So it kind of ticked me off, because they lied to me. They just flat out lied. So it took me a full week to get untangled from T-Mobile, because their system is set to keep you as a customer, basically hold you, against your will, if they can manage to do it. As long as they can do it to make all the money off of you, they can. Well, I never signed on with T-Mobile. I didn't want to be with T-Mobile. I've never liked that company. I've always heard bad things about it. So I didn't want anything to do with them. But here I woke up one day and I was stuck with T-Mobile. It took me Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It took me 6 days to get my phone switched over from T-Mobile to a company of my choosing. So I went from, it was a battle. I had to fight with them. But I finally got it done yesterday. But I went from them wanting me to pay $93 a month for one unlimited line and one line with text and talk only. And the new company is US Mobile, not to be confused with T-Mobile. It's US Mobile, completely different outfit. And it's costing me $27 a month for both of those lines. And the second line is not just talk and text, it also has 5 gigabytes of data for $27 a month. And the catch to that is, to get that lowest price, that $27 a month, you pay annually, which is no big deal, because it was $210 for the unlimited line and another $96 for the talk, text, and 5 gigabytes of data line. So for $300, for a year of cell service. I've got 2 phones, and it's paid for a year. It's already paid for a year. It's freaking awesome. You know, so I don't have to worry about paying $93 a month to T-Mobile, and they can kiss my butt. I refuse to do it. I don't like companies like that. If you're going to lie to me, I'm not going to have nothing to do with you. It's just how it is. So that's all done. I got that done. So between all this stuff that I've been trying to get done, resituated, reorganized, blah blah blah, you know, between the semaglutide, the phones, the YouTube thing, I spent the better part of 2 months just basically every day trying to figure out how to get other people to solve the problems that I didn't create, but that I needed solved. You know what I mean? So got it done. It's all done. So I'm pretty happy about that. Takes the heat off of me for a while. So now I can just make videos for fun. You know, I can go back to making videos the way I want to make them. Just, you know, I just like making videos this way. And it is freeing not to have to handle all that crap anymore. So yay for me. Yay. So I'm curious to see how this little DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera is going to do as a forward-facing camera. Because normally I would have my big old Sony in here. Now it's supposed to be recording in 4K, so we will see. We'll see how it looks. It might be that it's actually a good camera for this application. I don't know. But we're gonna try it and see. I mean, so far it looks pretty good. It's a very tiny screen. It's about a third the size of the screen on the Sony, but it's looking good. So yeah, I'm just gonna run with it and see what happens. It's a lot easier than trying to mount a camera up on the dashboard. The only thing is it sits back farther from the windshield, so you're gonna see more of the dash, especially in this vehicle because, you know, it's a sloping dash. It's more sloping than the Ford would be, than the truck. But I think this is just cool. It's kind of fun. I haven't just gone someplace kind of for fun in a long time, you know. And just because the paperwork was ready, I thought, well, this would be a good direction to go today. You know, give me a reason to go up there, legitimate reason to spend money on the fuel, and I can just drive the Jeep. I haven't really driven this. I drove it back from Norman, and I've driven it to Duncan a couple of times, and that's it. So I'm actually getting to get out and drive it again. And the more I drive this Jeep, the more I like it. It's got a lot of pep to it. It's not, you know, if you push on the gas, it goes. It's not mushy. It's not a wimpy little motor. It's a pretty good motor in this thing. It's a 6-cylinder, and it's got the 8-speed transmission, and it's got plenty of pep, plenty of pizzazz, and it runs good at highway speed. It doesn't seem like it's struggling at all. The old Jeep was old. That was way old, and I didn't take it up to highway speeds. Usually 55 was about as high as I would drive that Jeep, just because all the parts were so old and it seemed like it was really struggling to try and go any faster. So this is really nice. I mean, it functions like a modern car should. So I'm just pretty impressed with it. I feel very fortunate that I found this one, and I was able to get it modified to my specifications by the Jeep outfit up at Duncan. I took it in and I had it gone through and inspected. I had them look at everything on it, and they did that. The only thing they found on it that wasn't quite kosher was it had too much oil in it. So the last time it got an oil change, which was right before I bought it, according to the service records, somebody put too much oil in it. So I said, well, let's drain it out and start over so we got the right amount in there. I don't want to be blowing any seals or anything. I don't know if that's still a danger with motors or not, but that's what we did. So I had a fresh oil change, and then I had them remove the running boards off of it. There were running boards on this thing that I had to step up and over, and it was just awkward. It was just kind of ridiculous for somebody my height to have to put running boards on a little Jeep. You know what I mean? It doesn't sit that high off the ground. I mean, it's got like 9 inches of ground clearance, so it's not like it sits up 1.5 feet like the pickup. I mean, the running boards on the pickup are kind of a necessity because it sits way up there. But they were just in the way. They were an obstruction and a trip hazard. I mean, I was having a little bit of trouble getting in and out, trying to avoid getting hung up on them, getting in and out. You know, they stick out. So they took them off, and it is so much better. I love it. It fixed the problem entirely. Now I can just walk up to it and get in and not have any problems. I don't have to step over anything. Just step into the car. So when I step into this car, I'm stepping down into the car because I'm so tall. So having the running boards was just, you know, totally unnecessary. They looked kind of cool, but I think it actually looks better without them. I like the lines of it without them on it much better. So, you know, I'm just happy I don't have to deal with it anymore. Yay. It was another little victory, another little win. You know, I'll take my little victories wherever I can get them, because you don't get that many of those in this life to start with. So you better savor each one you get. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm going to circumvent the turnpike today because I do not have a turnpike tag on this Jeep yet. I keep forgetting to apply for it. I very rarely use the turnpike at all anyway. I don't like using it, but it's kind of a smart thing to have a turnpike tag if you're in this area and you need to use it. Like if you have an emergency, you know, you get family that has to go to Oklahoma City for something, that kind of thing. It's a good thing to have the tag because it saves you a couple bucks off of every toll. I mean, they've gotten to the point where the tolls are ridiculous here now on the turnpike. Instead of being like 50 cents like it used to be back in the day, to go from Chickasha to Oklahoma, it's up to like $3 or $4 or $5. So it's gone up a lot. So I'm gonna go up through Chickasha and just stay on the surface roads and the regular highways. I'm not getting on the turnpike at all today. I don't think that, yeah, I guess you do. I think you do get charged if you take the turnpike cutoff up to the road that goes to Blanchard, up to Highway 9 from 81 here, because you still have to go through a reader. You have to go through a plate reader. I don't want to do that. I don't want them sending me a bill, you know, charging me $3 to take the cutoff when I could just stay on the regular road and do what I need to do. So it seems kind of ridiculous. So I had to have the electric company come out this week and fix my yard light. We had a yard light put in, oh gosh, maybe 6 or 8 years ago. And then we had them turn it off. Bill didn't like it being on all the time. So we had them turn it off for a long time. Then last summer I thought, I'm going to have them put that yard light back in. I mean, I don't like the light pollution, but sometimes I need to go out at night and do stuff, and it's nice to have a yard light, you know, not have to just carry a flashlight all over the place. To have some ambient light, you know. And these are, they used to be mercury vapor lights. I don't know what they are now. I imagine they might still be. But the one they installed, the one they put up, or the one they turned back on, whatever it was, did not work. It would like start glowing a little bit. It just wasn't coming on and staying on and doing what it was supposed to do. So I called and had them come fix it, and they did that today. So let this trooper get around me. Oh, it's a sheriff. Okay. Either way, I'd rather have him in front of me than behind me. Even as a retired cop, I don't like having a police vehicle behind me. You know, I have been pulled over before a few times, so, but none of those were when I was a cop. So a couple before and a couple after. And to be fair, the last few times I got pulled over, I wasn't doing anything wrong. They just didn't see that I had an abortion tag on the front of my truck when I was still hauling trailers. They were looking for a tag on the back, so I actually had to have a specialty tag made that said abortion tag on front of vehicle. So they quit pulling me over for not having a tag on the back. I remember pulling somebody over in Craig like that once. It was some kind of a work truck, and I got behind it, and I'm like, that truck doesn't have a tag on it. Well, I didn't know anything about abortion tags, so I went in and pulled them over, gave him a ticket for not having a tag on the back of the truck. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the judge probably dismissed that one. I don't remember having to go to court over it. Like, okay. Or probably the DA or somebody dismissed it, I don't know. The things they don't teach you when you're a cop. It's kind of funny because they expect you to do traffic enforcement, but they don't teach you about like commercial traffic enforcement. It's a completely different animal. I never knew that until I got my CDL and had to abide by the CDL rules. You know, it's a completely different thing. The things you don't know, you don't know. You know what I mean? I didn't know. I didn't know I didn't know it. Not a clue. There we go. I like this display in this Jeep. The display itself's got a few bubbles in it, but it's not enough to where I can't read it clearly. I mean, they're hard to notice, actually. One of the things that they said to check on this vehicle, one things to look for was delamination of the video screen in it, the view screen. So I don't know that it's delaminating. It might be starting to, but I guess it's not that big of a deal to just put a new screen in there. They were saying it's like $2,000 to replace the actual unit, but my brother John was telling me you can get the screen for like $100 and do it yourself. Not that I want to do that. I thought I heard something weird. Probably a kid in the car over there. something weird. Or a dog howling or a kid hollering, one of the two. I am so going to get myself a Starbucks, but I'm going to wait till I get to Norman for it. Cut around the back way here instead of going clear up through town. Cut around by the ball fields. something rattling back there occasionally. I'm going to have to go back there and look and see what that is. I bet I got something sitting in one of the door pockets, and every once in a while I hit just the right rattling frequency to make it rattle. Because I don't hear it, like, except when I slow down and turn and stuff. And it's clearly inside the cabin here. It's not, well, it could be under it, I guess, but it's not in the engine. It's back that way. But I'm the queen of hating rattles in vehicles. So when I detect one, I usually try and figure out where it's at and then how to eliminate it. But I've heard this a couple of times. Like, you can hear it now. I'm not sure what that is. It could be, I guess I need to crawl up under there and look. I don't think it is, because I think they got them all out, but it could be, theoretically, a bolt from the running boards that they didn't take completely out. But I think they took all those out, because it seems like I felt up under there after they were done to see. So I don't think that's what it is. I think there's something in a compartment here somewhere that's doing a little rattling around. I'm not too concerned about it, because every vehicle, old and new, has its little rattles and squeaks. It's just the way they are. Yeah, the thing about being a machine, I guess, and, you know, being man-made. Although it drives me insane to deal with a rattle, I'm not distressed at the concept that it has the occasional rattle, because every vehicle I've ever had has. Every single one. All of them. The most rattly truck I ever drove was that 2018 Dodge. Big old Dodge Ram, the 1-ton. That thing had a plethora of little weird rattles to it, and it just depended on what kind of road I was on, you know, whether it would rattle or not. It was kind of funny. I was always chasing a rattle in there, and I had a lot of stuff in there that could rattle too, you know, tools and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, it was enough to drive a person nuts, is what it was. Guess I should mind the speed limit. I think it's 35 here. Maybe 45 on down here a ways. I may stop down here on the way back and see if Emily is working, just to pop in and check on her. It's kind of weird, because Emily's Bill's daughter, and I don't see her car. No, she's not working today. Not yet, anyway. We didn't get along for a lot of years, for a lot of reasons. But when he got sick, we decided we needed to get along, and we have. And we both quit doing the things that annoyed the other one, you know. She had problems, you know. And I did too. I was dealing with a terminally ill husband who I didn't really want to lose. And, you know, she was losing her dad. But she had other stuff going on before that just set us up for not being really great friends in the beginning. We were, you know, polar opposites, I guess you could say. But when her dad got sick, that changed everything for both of us, and we just started getting along. So now we get along really good, you know. We're family, like it or not. You don't have to be blood to be family, I guess. I think that's been proven time and again in many different scenarios. And this is one of those scenarios where it proved to be true. So I kind of went from not really wanting to deal with her at all, which I didn't back in the days when there were all these problems going on, to now, I just feel like she's one of the kids that, I need to kind of keep up with, have a relationship with. So Bill would be amazed, I'm sure. Actually, he did live to see it, because we started getting along about a year before he ended up dying. So it's not that he didn't know. It's too bad it took us that long to get along, but life is what it is. You do the things you do, and you have the attitude you have, and you deal with people the way you deal with them. Man, I'm impressed with this Jeep. I like it. I like it a lot. It's new enough that it feels and looks and smells new. I mean, it's just, which is kind of weird because it's a 6-year-old car. But evidently the people that had it really took care of it. I think the first person who owned it had it on a lease for a business, some kind of a commercial, not commercial, but a business lease. So it was probably a perk of the job, whatever their job was. And then the second person who got it kept it for 3 years, and apparently they might have owned it. I think they actually owed on it. I heard there was a lien against it, a prior lien from the second person who had it, I think. So it wasn't like people were passing it off like a hot potato. The first outfit probably had it for the full term of the 3-year lease. 'Cause I haven't leased a vehicle, but seems like back in the day they started doing them for 3-year leases, I think, something like that anyway. So that kind of would make sense. And they didn't put that much mileage on it at the time, and it was in New York. It was up in New York State. So the first owner only put like 19,000 miles on it in 3 years. And then of course the second owner put right around 33 or 34 on it, 35, something like that. So they drove it considerably more, but the second owner was in Texas. So I don't know what that means, except probably the first owner was just driving it to and from the office, and they probably weren't very far away from their office. It might have been the same for the second owner. Maybe they're just, twice as far away from the office as the first guy was. Who knows? Do you ever try and figure stuff out like that? Try and make sense of random things. You only have so many facts, and then you try and put it all together and make a story of it in your head so it makes sense to you. I do that a lot. I'm always telling myself stories, making stories out of random facts. So it is hot out today. Where's my temperature? 102 degrees right now out there. And it's staying comfortable in here. I've got the air conditioning on, like the fan up only on the 3rd notch. It goes up a lot higher. So everything's working good in here. Climate control is decent. In fact, it's a little too cold for me. I'm trying to get it where it's not blowing right on me. I like the cool air to surround me. I don't like it to blow on me. I'm funny that way. It annoys me if it blows on me. It's kind of weird, kind of funny. So I finally got the display I like best on for my forward display here. There are different options. You can set it up different ways. So I've got it so it shows me my current mileage, my range on the fuel I've got, which direction I'm actually driving, and it shows me a tachometer, which is kind of pointless, I think, for this. Why do I need a tach on a Jeep? I don't know. But it's got a tach, and it's got the fuel gauge and then a temperature gauge. And then on the central display, I've got my map and my outdoor temperature, my indoor temperature, all the other pertinent information. I kind of like this because I'm getting used to now where the information is when I need to know something or when I want to know something. I know where to look. For the first couple times I drove it, I didn't know what to do with it. I wasn't sure. So I've just experimented with it a little bit. I think this is actually probably the 4th time I've driven it since I brought it home. I've taken it to Duncan 3 times, I believe. See, I went to Duncan the first time to take it to have it inspected at the Jeep dealer. I took it to the grocery store once, and then this morning I took it down there to Walmart. Did my Walmart shopping. Man, Walmart was weird today. The Walmart that I go to is a super center, and it is usually elbow to elbow busy. And it doesn't matter what time of year or anything. It's always like Christmas week busy, that kind of busy, because it's a high population area that comes to that one store. I mean, we got people coming up from Texas to go to that store, and people coming from all over the place around. The next closest store is in Lawton, which is 30 miles away, and then the next closest one after that is Chickasha, which is about 35 miles away. So it draws a lot of people. Well, I was in there today, and it wasn't particularly early. I think it was about 9:30 or 10 when I got there, and it was like it used to be before it got to be such a busy store. It was just normal. I got to park like right out in front of the door, pretty much, just behind the handicap spots, and there was no crushing throng of people that I had to work my way through. I didn't have to fight to get a buggy. You know, I didn't have to be dodging people or trying not to get run over, because usually in there you do, because it's just so busy. So it's kind of weird, and I got to thinking, well, it's the last day. Well, no, it's not. It's the day before the last day of the month. So I wonder if that's when I need to be going to Walmart when I have to go, because I hate going to Walmart. But there are some things that I buy there that I cannot get anywhere else as cheap. And I was doing this thing for a while where I would order stuff from Walmart to be shipped to me. And unfortunately, instead of just shipping it, they would have their local delivery people pick it up and bring it to my house. So it was kind of getting shipped, and it wasn't like I was ordering a delivery, so I didn't have to sit there and wait for them and tip them, because I didn't know if they were going to bring it or not, or if it was going to be FedEx or whatever. But here lately, the last 2 or 3 times I've done that, these people haven't shown up till like 10:30 at night. And I don't like having people coming up to the house 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. I don't like people up there after dark. And I don't like leaving the gate open to let them in after dark. So I decided I'm not going to do that anymore, unless I just absolutely need to have something delivered. If it's, and I can't imagine why I would have to. I can always just buck up and go to Walmart myself and go get it. But sometimes it's been a real convenience to do that. But the way they've been doing it lately, I don't like it. When I first started doing that, they would have everything delivered in the daytime. They'd be done by, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They were done delivering stuff. But now, I don't know what the deal is, and they seem to be not sending people from the Dunkin' store, which is the one that's actually close to me. Instead of doing that, making sense, they've been getting people from the Lawton store to bring me stuff. It doesn't make any sense. And then those are the ones that have been coming at night. I'm like, I don't like that. I just don't like it. So I'm not going to order from them like that anymore, I don't think. It's just one of those things. It's convenient if you don't have to sit up and wait all night for them to get there, or have some strange person running around your house outside in the dark. I've got cameras and everything, but I just don't like that. I do not like it. It seems so unnecessary. If they don't have enough people working to deliver stuff in the daylight hours, maybe they need to start paying their people more. They structured all this the way they want to do it. And if you order something for delivery, you pay a delivery fee if it's under a certain amount of money. Or you tip them when they come bring it. But if you order it to be shipped, normally they used to send it all with FedEx or, UPS or whoever, the mail or whatever. So I don't know. They've outsmarted themselves to the point where I don't know. They're kind of screwing up their own deal. And they're screwing it up for me too. So, But it's one of those things. Nothing stays the same forever. And I'm nothing if not adaptable. I think I've proven that a time or two. Adaptable Sue. That's me. So we're getting into Blanchard. This area, if you can get up on a hilltop near Blanchard, you're going to get a really nice view. There's one, if I was on the turnpike, there's a view up there. It's my favorite view in the state, in this part of the state, because you can see all the way around for a long way, and it's just, you can see the terrain. It's just rolling hills for forever. It just goes on forever. But I don't want to pay for the turnpike to go look at the view today. If I had a turnpike tag, I might do it, but I don't have one yet. I got to get one, just in the event that I need it. As old as we're all getting and everything, I may need to go to Oklahoma City with Dovey, or who knows. That's my sister-in-law, in case you don't know. So I've been thinking a lot about wanting to move back to Colorado, but I can't afford it, realistically. I looked again yesterday just to see how the house prices up there were doing, and they're just as ridiculous as they were a year ago. I think that's probably something that I'm really not ever going to be able to do. As much as I would like to do it in a way, and in another way, I really don't want to do it either, because of the mess that Colorado has become since it got kind of taken over by these socialist people over in Denver that have basically screwed the whole place up, you know. And I saw the beginnings of this back when I lived on the Front Range. I lived over in Golden, and I lived in Bailey and Conifer back in the 90s. And I could see the writing on the wall, because the Californians had all flooded in the 80s and the 90s and bought up all of the cheap real estate. Real estate in Denver was a boom bust type of town. It would boom for a while and then it would bust, and then the houses would be dirt cheap after everything busted. And then the last time that there was a big bust was about the 80s, and Californians flew in by the truckload, flew in by the plane load. They sold their houses in California because by that time an average regular, 2 or 3 bedroom house in California was $1 million. So they flew in and sold their houses in California, retired early because they got $1 million out of a regular house, and they bought a house in Denver for 25 or 30 grand and retired. But it would all been okay if they'd left their whacked out politics behind in California that had made California the place they wanted to leave. They didn't think about it that way. So they brought their California politics to Colorado. That's why people were running around after they got there with bumper stickers that said, "Don't Californicate Colorado." And it was too late. They already had. It was already a done deal. By the mid-90s, it was over with. It just took a while for them to basically gain full control. They wormed their way into all of the politics there. And now Colorado, after being a very mild-mannered, tame, more kind of conservative place, rural state, an agricultural state that had a couple of ski resorts, it's turned into a liberal lunatic enclave, the whole state. They've taken over everything, and they've destroyed a lot of the stuff that made Colorado a great place to be. And one of the things they did was they trashed the economy. They brought their California economics to Colorado with their politics, and they upset the apple cart to the point where Colorado is now unrecognizable. It's not at all what it used to be. So there is that makes me think, well, I don't really want to deal with all that kind of crap anyway, so it's probably better for me to stay here where it is a solid conservative leaning state, and I don't have to deal with the socialist crap and the woke crap and all of that, progressive, kind of pervasive, controlling attitude. I just don't like it. And, people are of course entitled to their own opinion about their politics and stuff, and I don't talk politics very much because I don't feel like I need to go around poking that bear with a stick, you know what I mean? But it's not that I don't pay attention, and it's not that I don't have my own opinions. And there are some things I just flat out do not like and will not participate in. And all that wokeness and disgusting perversion that comes along with it ain't for me, baby. Ain't for me. So, and that sickness, that I think it's kind of evil, has pretty much taken over the governments, the state governments in several western states and a few eastern states too. And I can't really say that I would actually care to live in any of them with that kind of a government in place at this time. Now, having said that, if I was financially able to move back to Colorado and the right opportunity presented itself, I probably would do it because that's where most of my family is. So, that's a tough question, that would be a tough decision to make, because there are certain freedoms that I have here in Oklahoma that I would not have in Colorado, and it's unfortunate that it's that way because it didn't used to be that way. So I would, if I did move back there, I would have to knowingly give up some of the freedoms that I have here, So yeah, it's weird. It's a weird deal. I'm not going to get too much more into the politics of it, but just to say that I don't agree with that kind of stuff, and I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's moral. I don't think it's good. Everybody can think what they think, and I think what I think. So, take it or leave it. My opinion is worth just about as much as everybody else's. You know what I mean? So yeah. This is going pretty well here, I must say. Everything's looking good. The car's handling just fine. The more I drive this little Jeep, the more I like it, actually. It's really comfortable. Super comfortable. It's got a lot more fancy stuff in it than the old Jeep had. Which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, because that was a 1994 that I had before. I actually sold it last week. And I got way much more out of it than I thought that I probably should have. But that was the going rate for it, and it sold within 30 minutes. So maybe I didn't ask for enough. I don't know, but I had enough that I was able to split it with my sister, because it was actually her Jeep before it was ever mine. She just gave it to me. So I thought, I wasn't going to just make out like a bandit on that deal after she was nice enough to give it to me. So I split it with her. I think it kind of surprised her. It just felt like the right thing to do, I thought. I wouldn't have had it. I wouldn't have been able to drive it for the past 2.5 years if she hadn't given it to me. And we put a little bit of money into it, not much. Bill put a new grill on it, new headlights. I put a couple of new parts on it. We did a little bit with it, but we didn't have to do much to it. And the kid that bought it from me, he was really happy to get it. He had one like that when he was young, and I guess it just kind of, it was nostalgic for him, so he was super happy with it. I was super happy to have it go to somebody who really liked it, So yeah, everybody was happy. It worked all the way around. You can't beat something like that. If everybody involved can be happy for a few minutes over something, that's a pretty good thing. That's not a bad thing at all. Yeah. So I did something really dumb today, and it made me mad because I got chicken feed all in the back. Decided to get the vacuum out when I got home from Dunkin'. I stopped and got a bag of feed crumbles for the chickens, because I had pellets for them that they didn't seem to like. They weren't eating them. And so I thought, well, I need to get something else for them, because they need to be eating something besides just scratch. They need actual, chicken feed. So I got this bag of poultry feed. It wasn't like laying mix, because Goldie quit laying. She's old enough. She's done. And it's just the 2 roosters and Goldie. So I got this bag of poultry feed, is what it's called. And it's crumbles. So I got it at the store, opened up the back of the Jeep, and picked up the bag. And I have never had a bag of feed do this before, but I'm probably only just because I've been lucky. So the corner of the bag, the strip pulled loose on it, and I had a pile of chicken feed on the carpeting in the back of the new Jeep. I was like, well, dang it. So I set the bag upright, and I started putting the chicken feed back in the bag that had come out. And there was quite a bit of it. It kind of went everywhere. I was like, well, good grief. So I cleaned it up as best I could, and I stood it up in the corner and braced it with my box of stuff that I keep back there so it wouldn't fall over again and make a bigger mess. Well, I got home, I got it out, and then I went and got the vacuum and I cleaned it all up back there. It just had to happen, you know. You can't have a new vehicle and not make a mess in it with something, right? So I got the crumbles all cleaned up out of the back of the Jeep. Oh, shoot. And so I took them out to the chicken pen, and I combined I've got two kinds of scratch. I've got this fancy organic scratch that almost looks and smells like it might have molasses in it or something. It's real dark grains. And then I've got the regular cheap scratch, and I dumped them in together. I need to stir them up, but I dumped them in together so I could have a trash can with a lid for just the crumbles, so I'd have a place to put it. So I'm in there doing that, and the whole time I'm having to keep an eye on Peeps, because for some reason now Peeps, one of the roosters, he's the one who lives by himself, and he gets along real good with everybody, but 2 times now, 3 times now, he's come up and come after me and bit my leg. The first time he got me the worst, and it kind of made like a blood blister type thing. He pinched me pretty good, and I don't know why all of a sudden he started doing this. He's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, and he's always been very mild-mannered, but all of a sudden he decided he's going to be one of these little mean roosters. So the first time it took me by surprise, and I was like, well, you little pill. So I just went on about my stuff, and then the second time was like last week. And I figured out what I'm doing to key this behavior. I figured out what I did that he considered to be an offense, I think. But the second time, he tried to get me, and I saw him coming, and I was like, oh, no, you don't. You know, so I kind of blocked him. It wasn't too bad. Well, then the other day, I went in there, and this was my offense. I opened up his side of the coop first and let him out, and then it takes me a minute to block the door open, to fasten it open, and then I walk back over and go around through the gate to the other side of the coop to let Big Bird out. Well, what I did to offend him, I guess, was walking past him to the gate, because he was in the process of wanting to get over there first so he could face off with Big Bird. That's the first thing he does every morning. They both do this. I open the coops, let them out, and then they both run over to the gate that they share between them, and then they face off with each other at that gate, and they do their rooster stuff. They fluff up their feathers and, you know, act silly to each other, like, you know, oh, come here, I'll kick your butt. That's what they're doing, and that's just what roosters do. And these roosters were raised together. They were literally hatched the same week. So they've been raised together. They've always been, I used to keep the roosters all together away from the hens, because we had 3 roosters and the hens couldn't tolerate any of them. Well, now we've only got the one hen left, and she loves Big Bird. She likes having him in the coop with her. So now Big Bird and Goldie live together in the east side of the coop, and Peeps lives as a bachelor on the west side of the coop, and they've been fine this way for over a year now. They like it that way. But evidently, I made Peeps mad, and I think it might have been yesterday. And he was lucky that I went out in my moccasins, because I actually had to kick him. And I felt bad about it, but he was biting my leg. So I kicked him. He ran up to me, I let him out, and then I went to walk around to open the gate, and he charged me, and he came up and bit my leg again. So I kicked him off, sent him flying a little bit. I didn't hurt him. He's a pretty tough little old bird. But I gave him a little bit of a lofty kick there, just to stop him and let him know, and I scolded him. I was like, you know, you're not the bad bitch on the block, buddy. I am, and you're not going to get by with that with me, because I'm meaner than you are. just kind of impressing upon him that this was not approved behavior. So yeah, it was interesting. It was very interesting. They changed this interchange up here. I need to look at it and see. I think it still functions the same. Okay. I'm just getting to I-35. Oklahoma City. Yes, I want to go that way. And Norman. I think it's still kind of like a clover leaf up here. They just got this done, and I haven't really been up on this since they changed it. I don't think at all. Interesting. I'll make sure I get this right. Oh, they did change it. Aha. Yeah, I got a guy back here behind me. They did change this. It used to cloverleaf to the right and go under the overpass. Now it just, this is probably much safer and better because we don't have other traffic we got to worry about doing weird stuff. So anyway, Mr. Peeps has turned into a persnickety old man, evidently. And now I have to be careful not to trigger his anger. Because if I do, he'll peck me. He'll pinch me with his little sharp-ass beak. And I mean, I wear pretty heavy jeans. These are pretty substantial, heavy denim jeans. And he still managed to pinch me pretty good through them. And they're not tight, so, he was able to get in there and get some skin. Little buzzard. So now I've got a mean-ass little rooster I got to deal with, evidently. Which is sad because he's always been so mild-mannered. I don't know what triggered him. I don't know what changed him. But he's not the same bird he used to be. So, I don't know what to make of it, except it is what it is. Now I have to deal with him accordingly. But I really felt bad about booting him yesterday. But I was glad that I was just wearing moccasins because I didn't hit him with a solid boot. Gave him a little loft with my toes, basically. But yeah, ornery roosters. I've always heard about people having roosters that are ornery, but I kind of thought they were just born that way. Maybe you just have an ornery one, your luck of the draw. Maybe it's not that way. Maybe they get cranky as they get older or something, and then they turn into ornery roosters. I don't know. But I don't have any trouble with Big, and well, Big's got Goldie in with him too, so maybe he's just a happier guy. But who knows? But I've always babied Peeps because he was the one that Henry tried to kill as a chick, and he bit his neck. I mean, he had him in his mouth, and Bill saved him because Henry had him by the neck and was going to eat him. And Bill got him away from Henry and gave him to me. And of course, the poor little guy. We didn't know at the time that he was a rooster. We thought he was probably a hen, but he wasn't. He was a rooster. But he's suffered some nerve damage from that cat attack to this day. His outer toes, instead of sticking out straight like a normal bird, they curl kind of back toward the back. So he had some actual permanent nerve damage from that, getting chomped by a cat, which I guess makes sense because he was a tiny, tiny little chick at the time. He was about a week and a half old. But, oh my gosh. So I feel really bad to have to, give him the boot, give him the lofty boot treatment, but I'm not going to let him run around and peck the hell out of me either. That's not acceptable. I don't care who you are. Not my thing. All right. I know my way around up here pretty well. Kathy used to live up here, my older sister. And this was the exit I would take to her place. I wish she still did. she had to go and move to DC, you know, like some big snooty toots. She had a really good job opportunity out there. That's why she went. So I don't begrudge her for going, not too much anyway. I just wish she was still around here. She was the only family I had here that wasn't in-laws, you know. She may come back someday. I doubt it though. She probably won't. If she comes back in this direction, she'll go to Missouri, I think is where she's planning to go when she actually retires. So I've been after her to retire for several years, and she won't do it. She's like, no, not ready yet, not ready yet. I'm like, just retire already. We could go do things, you know. I'd have somebody to hang out with. I'm very selfish about the whole concept of her retiring. It's all about me. Me. I want somebody to go hang out with, to do things with, you know. She ain't biting. She's not buying what I'm trying to sell her. Not even. So she's happy doing the job she's doing. She's enjoying it. And I don't begrudge her that. I really don't. Because, man, if you're happy doing your job, you're way ahead of the rest of us. But she's a very career-oriented human being. Always has been. She's always enjoyed her work that she's done. Right. So I'm going to pick up my paperwork here, and then I'm going to decide which Starbucks to go find. And then I'm going to fuel up. I've actually got enough gas in here to get home, so I don't have to fuel up, but it may be quite a bit cheaper up here if I do. Then again, the Murphy's back down there was supposed to be like real cheap, like $3.19, and it's not. It was $3.49, so I think my internet thing was fibbing to me a little bit, or maybe not up to date. So I'll do a little bit of looking and see if I can find a really, really dirt cheap fuel price. Otherwise, I'll probably just go back and buy fuel in Chickasha or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay. I did not expect to be coming back up here like this soon, or at all, really. Didn't really expect to be doing this. Hopefully they will just have it and I can just run and grab it and be done. I'm gonna go try it and see what happens. Take my wallet just in case they need an ID, because you never know, sometimes people do for stuff. So I'm going to end this video here, and we'll do part 2 on the way home. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.